Hello and welcome to this week's Ectohead. And so here in the UK it's the day after the eclipse and it's a hot day. I'm in a short sleeve shirt. It's 11:15 in the AM and it's already really bloody hot. But never mind, onwards and upwards. So over the next few days we can expect a deluge of great pictures of the eclipse, and maybe in amongst those pictures we'll get to see some sightings. Maybe amongst the plethora of pictures we'll get some UFOs, some UAP, some incredible UFO footage even. That would be nice. I was rather naive as a child. When I first started having experiences, it was all monsters, it was all evil. And it took me a while to understand that the woo that many of us experience all over the planet every day might in actual fact be just part of the natural processes of the planet. There are all kinds of philosophies and writings on how the planet is a conscious entity, that it has its own mind. And if the planet has its own mind, then there are also many writings about the nature of us and our reality. Are we just the planet's dream? Are all these incredible beings coming to visit us from outside of our sphere of reality, it seems, just more dreams by the planet? Is it possible that the Earth could in fact be an entity? And in its eons long slumber, it dreams of us. Admittedly, that's a bit of a stretch, because if I look around me, everything looks pretty bloody real. But I'm one of these individuals who dreams in colour. I dream in surround sound. I taste, feel and touch everything in dreams. I don't know how prevalent that is, but from my own experience talking to people around me, that's not very common. And I know there are a few people out there who are going to be listening to this thinking he thinks he's special. Unfortunately, not. I'm about as ordinary as it gets. And if you catch me talking about the subject of UFOs, well, you'll figure that out pretty soon. Science tells us increasingly that we're in a simulation. And that actually dovetails very neatly with us being the planet's dream. There are so many things about our reality that just don't add up. But very slowly, year after year, decade after decade, we stumble ever closer to what appears to be some kind of answer. But I have a feeling when we get there, it'll just be a lot more head scratching. When I first heard this idea that the planet is dreaming us and all the things that we've made and advanced in science and philosophy, I was brought rather humorously back to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The Vogon construction ship destroys Earth, and that's a tragedy, but for more reasons than you imagine if you haven't read the book, or heard the radio play, or seen the movie. The Earth, you see, is a computer, and it is computing the second question to the first question, which is, what is the meaning of life and everything, something like that. The first answer of which was 42. That's obviously an unsatisfactory answer because we just can't understand it. The computer Deep Thought, who gave us the answer 42, then suggests we build a bigger, better computer with a more clear set of questions in order to receive a better, more understandable answer. And that computer is the Earth. As absurd as it sounds, that kind of makes sense when it comes to the fact that we may be living in a simulation. Returning to what I was about to say before I was distracted by the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in order to explain my theory more fully, I was going to say that when I found out about the whole being dreamt by the planet hypotheses, that I used to hate it because I'd never liked the fact that somehow I wasn't in control of my own destiny, that I didn't have autonomous agency. But now, in my 61st year, I think to myself more increasingly that that's actually not a bad thing. What is life after all? We get born, we live, we die, and it seems like such a waste. So it does occur to me that if indeed we're living our lives either individually or somehow by proxy of another intelligent entity in order to reach some greater goal, a bigger answer, then isn't that a life well spent? And doesn't that also explain the old adage of free will?
If there is a God, why does he not interfere with all the badness?
Oh, it's because we've got free will. It's our choice. We have to find our way to the light. And frustratingly, that also makes sense. And this theory also fits quite nicely with the whole reincarnation thing. What if, in actual fact, the computer somehow has a series of people or intelligences that are part of the program, running the program, like programmers programming a video game. But the nature of this computer isn't to add up zeros and ones in order to make the experience. It's actually to inhabit some kind of strange, dreamt up physical life form like ourselves, to live out the experiences, to more fully inform with each life that comes and goes over the millennia what's the bloody point of everything. As I delve further and further into the UFO subject and the various realities contained therein, it's a confusing place to be, because so much of the impossible happens all the time, all around us. As evidenced by the various visions by the kids at Fatima and Chris Bledsoe. There have been plenty of prophets, soothsayers and mentalists to provide us with all kinds of prophecies over the years. Most frequently they tell us that God told them this. I spoke with God. I saw a holy being. I just mentioned Chris Bledsoe, and his prophecy with regards to the Sphinx has just come and gone. But another Sphinx was found underneath the Sphinx that's on land. A hidden Sphinx. A Sphinx that we have only just found out about. And it's my suspicion that if the prophecy is real, if Chris Bledsoe is authentic in that prophecy, then the hidden underground Sphinx is facing in a slightly different direction. And the star alignment that he prophesied would happen is still yet to happen. But all this information comes from gods and fairies. And if it turns out that I die and I wake up in a program room somewhere and I take off a headband and I'm like, God, that was a rough ride, my entire life will have just been effectively a video game that I played for who knows what reason. I will at that point know all the answers. And who knows, maybe I'll come back for another try. And just like those kids who, when they're still babies really, talk about their previous lives, say about the subject of reincarnation, you choose a body and you come back. That also dovetails nicely with the whole living in the Matrix theory. The tragedy is for us, it appears that when these entities, if these entities exist, inhabit our bodies, we have no real memory of what went before. And that also fits quite nicely with a program trying to filter for an answer. Every life must be lived independently, up until the point of death, without fear of infection from some outside informational pool. And so we all on this planet lead our dreamed lives, each one of us contributing to this program and its answer. And maybe our eventual death, however it comes to us, is the end of that individual part of the program running its course. As I've been talking about this subject about humanity being the dream of this planet, I am struck by the fact that whatever the answer ends up being, it's going to be a lot more complicated than even this theory. And it's my suspicion that if heaven and hell actually do exist, then this is hell, and heaven awaits us all, regardless of who we were or what we've done. Maybe there are no gods, and heaven is a bright white room we wake up in when we've played our part here. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Do like, subscribe and share, it really would help the channel. And until next time, bye bye.